Welcome to Team Talk. I'm Craig Zimmerman, and today we've got Clair Powerlifting in the studio. We got Jeff Flynn.
Hi there.
We got Josh Daniels, Peyton Daniels, and Mia Chamberlain. Good, easy names. So we passed the first test here. Welcome in, and we're gonna, I'll learn some stuff. The people in TV land or YouTube land will learn some stuff about powerlifting. So Jeff, tell us about your Clair Powerlifting team. How many kids on the team? Obviously, one thing they'll learn is a lot of people might have the notion that it's just a guy sport, but obviously it's not. Sure. These ladies are powerlifters, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Coach Flynn. I've been coach of the powerlifting team for about 11 years now. Depending on the year, it's different every year on how many we have on the team. Sometimes there's lifters that are there kind of casually in the gym training with us. The ones that become more serious about it, want to compete, like my girls here. They go on to competitions and things like that too. So we have anywhere from 30 lifters to, we brought as few as 7 lifters to different meets before, but the team seems to be growing, but it's different every year, like I said.
Okay, let's talk about the basics. How many different lifts are there?
Okay, there's three lifts that you compete in. The squat, you squat first, and then you bench, and then you deadlift.
So squat is you get down, and you just have to stand up with it, like sort of on your shoulders?
Yeah, so you start with the bar up already, and then
Yep.
you gotta wait for the judge's command, and then you squat down and come back up.
Okay.
So it's a leg lift.
And then the next one?
Bench press. So a lot of people are more familiar
Yep.
with that one. So you lie down on the bench and you use your upper body and triceps to press that weight.
Third one?
Deadlift. So Mia, I think, is the deadlift expert here. It's her favorite lift. That's where the weight starts on the floor. Fewer things to worry about. You just pick it up. So
is it proper to ask Mia what her goal for the year was and what her ending weight was?
Well, my goal was 235, and I hit that goal at our very last meet.
Oh, congratulations. 235 from a deadlift
Yep.
up.
Nope, just
up?
No,
just
that's
bring it up to your waist.
Okay.
Just pick it up off the ground.
Okay.
Yep.
Got to hold it for a couple seconds till
Yep.
they blow a whistle?
Judge will tell you to put it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a fourth one?
Nope.
Okay.
Those are the
So
three
three.
that you compete in.
Okay.
Now, there's other lifts you might do in the gym to help strengthen those 3, but those are the ones that count for competition.
Okay. And what does Peyton do when she's lifting? All 3?
Yeah, but my favorite's bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what kind of bench press number does a junior high schooler bench?
During the season, I could bench 115, but now I can bench 135.
Okay. And when you started a year or 2 or 3 or whatever ago, what did you start at?
I started at like 75, 85 pounds.
Yeah, that's a good advancement.
Yeah.
Josh, you're the assistant coach?
Yep.
Tell us what a coach and assistant coach, the different things that they do during the meets or training.
I don't get to participate a lot in the training, just at the meets. And because of the various weight classes, there might be 3 or 4 or 5 lifters at all different stations. And Mr. Flynn will tell me where he's going to go. And we all we make sure there's a coach with each lifter and maybe point out a critique for their, because you get to lift, you get 3 attempts at each lift. And if we can catch something they did wrong in the first lift, maybe we can make the second lift better. So Mr. Flynn kind of guides me who he wants me to be with, and we try to just help all the lifters out.
So when you have is it proper in calling it a meet?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
when you have a meet, and let's say we go to the first station, we're talking about JV and varsity, correct?
Yep. They
Yeah.
might both be at the same station. Yeah. Usually the stations, the platforms are organized kind of by weight class. And they start with lightest at 1, and then they go up.
So does it always start, in other words, let's say there's 5 ladies that are going to compete against each other in a station. Is it starting out always the same weight to start?
It picks the lightest weight. So before you go and compete, you have to send in what's called your opening lifts.
Okay.
So that's what you're going to start with. So then they organize it by the lightest opening lift goes first, and then they raise the weight until they get the heaviest. Once everybody's gone once, then they go back down to whoever's now the new lightest for their second attempt.
So how many lifts would you have in a meet, Peyton?
Well, I'd lift about 9 times.
9 times?
Mhm.
Same for Mia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because you do all 3 lifts 3 times. So
And is it automatic that if somebody doesn't lift, then they're done with that?
if you, go ahead. Maybe I'll have you explain.
Even if you do fail a lift, you can still go again. It's just you have to keep your weight the same.
Okay.
Like, well, you should. You can't go down.
Okay.
You can bring it up, but you can't go back down even if you can't do it.
Okay.
So you have to be smart about what you pick. That's why openers usually are something you can do pretty good for like 3 to 5 times, and then you can go up from there.
And then what increments are we talking about from the first lift to the second lift?
Depends on the lifter and what they're comfortable with. Some lifters like to make really small jumps. Some lifters might like to make bigger jumps. And it depends on the lift too. Like the bench press, usually you don't make as big of a jump as you might on the deadlift. So I guess what kind of jumps would you make on your bench press, for instance?
Like 2.5 on each side.
Okay.
So you might only go up by 5 or 10 pounds on the bench
Yeah.
press.
So is it ever a case in a meet where maybe you've got an extremely strong student that says, oh, I can blow this way, I can go from 120 to 190 or whatever the number, would they do that?
They might. They might. And sometimes when you have lifters that are inexperienced, they don't know exactly what they can lift yet. And that, as a coach, you try to keep eyes on that, make sure they don't make too big of a jump. But they might make a bigger jump if I'm confident that they can do that. So.
And then is there something that you, and I talked to this last week, we were talking to the swim team, is there anything like it is in football and basketball where there's huddle? Is there any competitive nature that you can find out what your competition has been lifting?
Yep. Of course, you can follow along as they're lifting, but there's a spreadsheet that the judges update and everything like that. So you can go and you can see who's in your weight class, where are they at, what do you expect that they might lift for their next lifts, and what you could do to kind of get an edge on
Do you as a coach get to leave that meet with those numbers?
You can. Powerlifting's a little bit different than other sports, though, that you're competing a lot against yourself.
Okay.
And so when you're in the gym or when you're going to a meet or when you're strategizing, it always kind of comes, what can I do first? Because your opponent is not going to be able to impact what you can lift or can't lift. And so you're trying to go in and hit those numbers. Sometimes at the margin, you're looking at 5, 10, 15 pounds that you're trying to put an edge over a competitor. But most of the time, you're thinking about, what can I do? What can I hit?
So you want to hit your personal best every meet if you can. And then maybe, now let's talk about scoring, because I have no idea on scoring how it's done. Tell me about how you're scored.
How do you think the scoring,
It goes by like pounds you lift per pounds you weigh.
Oh, okay.
So since everyone in your class is generally the same weight, it's pretty fair. And then on your platform, you're ranked like first, second, third, based on the total of what you're lifting. So after it's all said and done, they'll add up the total of all the heaviest you successfully lifted from each lift.
Okay.
So even if you failed on your heaviest, you'll still get the weight from the one you did previously. So then they'll, after they add it up, rank you.
So then is that almost like a handicap system in a way, in the sense that if somebody weighs 25 pounds more, then they don't just lift X amount, like 5 pounds more than you, they don't win then because there's a weight difference? Is that
right? Because you're in your weight class, and so
Okay.
you're going to be with people that are in a similar weight class to you. So, but yeah, and you might, I think, getting your question a little bit, like you might go in and squat and bench, and you might not be that good at them. But if you're like Mia, you're coming in, you're waiting for that deadlift is the last lift that you get to do, and you can make up a lot right there on your best lift, and the total of all 3 of them is what determines.
Are they
who
always
wins.
done in the same succession?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mia likes the end of the day of her lifting because you know that you can pretty much clean up on it. Okay, that's your strength.
Yes.
So then is there team and individual scoring?
Yep. So you get a certain amount of points based on how your team, how your team places. You're allowed to have 10 of your lifters, your 10 best lifters, can earn points toward your team total. So.
Okay. Because I know talking to like cross-country coaches and swim coaches, part of their issue is having to sit here and look at the competition and see what they're bringing to know who to seed against who or who to place against who. Do you do some of that?
Not too much of it. It's a big team game at that level.
Okay.
So it's the teams that are bringing 30 girls
Okay.
to a meet, because then they get to pick the 10 best in order to have their score go to it. So I think we do well for the lifters that we do bring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you keep track of wins and losses as an individual and a team?
Again, it tends to be, a regional meet might have 50 schools that go to it. And so you kind of look at, well, where did we place compared to those 50 schools? Competitively and, rivalry-wise, we like to place higher than Marine City when we
Sure.
can, of course. But it's not like it's a direct meet against one
Okay.
team or another team.
So I would think then, ladies, it's when you're doing it individually, it's all about the big number at the end of the meet. Is that what it is?
Mhm.
And so you want to go into a meet and probably, again, one of those personal best, up a notch. And how much is that, like from your perspective, how much did you grow that number from the first of the season to the end of the season? Do you remember that number? Or?
I don't remember it exactly, but I definitely grew it a lot because it's not only how strong you are, but it's like the level of confidence you have in your own lifts does a lot. Because if you mentally believe you can't do it, you're not going to do it.
Yep.
So you have to believe you can. And then once you see that you can, it's just up from there. So that's how I was able to get that number to go way up.
Okay. Same, Mia, or any different?
Same. So this year was my first year, and so I was learning how to do everything for the first time. And so like when I started out, I couldn't even squat.
Okay.
So I had to learn how to squat before
Sure.
I could even put weight on my shoulders. But now I'm up to 165, so
Okay.
I guess I did something.
So if you're at 165 and we're now finishing your junior year, and I'm just going to throw this out there, what would be your goal for senior year?
I want to get up to 220.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to take some training and some time and effort.
Sure.
And how long is this season? About the same as what basketball is, roughly?
Yeah, it's a pretty short season, but again, some of my lifters are training year-round. They're going to local gyms, training at home, or different things like that. We do that competitive season is in January to March or so.
And I would assume that, Coach Daniels, you're involved in it too. It's not just strength, but it's technique, right?
100%. And even like when she would lift this year, I got to be with her. And I looked at it, I never realized it, but I looked at it, you know how when a professional baseball player goes in home run derby and their dad's pitching to him? Her confidence level, just with me standing behind her, went right through the roof.
Cool.
It was amazing, just with that. Because we lift all the time at home, so she knows if something goes wrong.
She
I'm
beat
picking
you
it
at
off her.
lifting?
Oh, yeah.
She's going to blow away come senior year, right?
I hope so.
Because the
It'd be
old
great.
guy,
Yep.
so you got to stay pretty in shape to be able to teach the technique, if you will.
For sure, you definitely do. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us what's in store for the senior year for these ladies and coming up for next year. I'm sure you've got a plan of you try to grow it and have more performers every year.
Yeah, so this year we kind of expanded our photography thing that we did. We're kind of looking into whether we're going to do posters or how other sports they tend to have those banners
Yep.
and things like that. I know we do the gym meet every year, which is a meet that we hold at the high school. It's a practice meet for new lifters, but it's also kind of fun. Parents can come in and observe. It doesn't take a whole Saturday to do. This year we were able to have Marysville come in and join us. A couple of their lifters participate in the gym meet. So looking to kind of expand that, make that a bigger thing next year. So
Okay.
yeah.
The interesting thing too is that if you look at it, I'm sure that you have kids coming in that are 5'2", 78 pounds or 88 pounds,
Yeah.
and they want to be part of it too because there's room for everybody, right?
Right. Yeah. And that was the thing too. I had a couple of guys that came in as they're freshmen and they're worried about, can I keep pace with everybody else? And it's about how long it takes, almost a full season, to get them to get the confidence to
Right.
know, like, okay, you can do this. You can be part of the weight class that you're going to be competing against. And I had some of those guys, they did get the courage to compete at the gym meet, which was very good for them. I mean, the strength is plenty
Sure.
there. So hopefully we can get some of those guys to turn out at the meets next year. It's always easier. The girls always have more confidence than the boys usually do. So
I would think it's similar, just off the top of my head, it's similar to wrestling from the standpoint that wrestling is the one sport where you see, a young, small ninth grader and a big senior might be double the weight, right? You
Right.
might have a 90-pound
Sure.
freshman and a 190-pound senior.
Yep.
But they both can compete because they're competing against their size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in. Anything else you want to tell the people about powerlifting in St. Clair today? Got her covered?
Yeah, no, it's a great sport. It's a sport that fits for a lot of different kids. So it doesn't require the same commitment sometimes as some other sports, the 24/7 that some are doing. Of course, you can do that, but there are some lifters that want to just come in and learn how to be in the gym, have fun, build some muscles, and
Keep in shape,
it's
yeah.
important there for them too. So I want them to be confident when they leave the team that as adults they can go into join a gym, biking.
Well, I'm
fitness.
guessing
Yeah.
too that this day and age, with as many sports as there are, you ladies decide to go to college. Or you might go to SC4, you might go to Central, and they probably all have club sports of powerlifting.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of there's a lot of them that are coming up. There's clubs. There's teams that travel too
Yeah.
for collegiate nationals and stuff. So
Okay, before the end of the show here, we're going to share some photos of Coach Daniels, Coach Flynn, Peyton, and Mia right here at some powerlifting activities.
yeah, we've got here's
I know
lifter
that guy.
here. This is-
Coach Ski.
That's Coach Ski over there. He helped out a lot as well for the boys team, and we have Travis Miracle back there. Was a student teacher and a coach also that helped out a lot with the boys team here. I believe this was. We
There we go.
went ahead. Okay, here's the some of our girls at one of the meets. This is Cameron Lohr squatting. I believe at the state championships. He's got I think 385 there.
That's crazy.
That he's squatting. He's making it look pretty easy. Pretty easy there. So strong family. The Lohr family have had a number of their lifters in the powerlifting team.
There we go.
Yep, that's a good picture of the girls.
With the old guys on the end.
Yep, yeah, we're the bookends there. So some new lifters, some strong lifters, some lifters that don't know their strength. That's Zara there in the middle, like you were talking about the big jump, right? So she was a lifter that didn't know her strength and would start really light, and then we'd be like, you can open it up a little bit and add some weight for the second attempt. So yeah, very good. Rylan Edgman is the captains of the boys team. This might have been an opener because I think that's pretty light for Rylan, but it looks like 245 or so that he's bench pressing. And you can see the judge here is watching intently. They got to give you a command when the bar stops on your chest. He tells you to press it back up again. So it's a little more technical. One of our freshmen, we've got Anthony Ross here, picking up 315 pounds. Anthony's another guy that still doesn't know how strong he is yet. You can see him holding that. He could hold that all day. So
Looks pretty strong.
yep. So I think he's just starting to discover some of his strength too. He's gonna be something. So yeah, these are the posters I told you about. Trying to make these kind of posters, banners. Maybe have set for next year. But had a photographer come in and
Those will be at your graduation party, I'm sure.
Yeah.
we might get some of those printed up for us. So team photos around the bottom and things like that. So there's Peyton with the deadlift.
How many pounds
on
is that there?
photograph day. So that looks like 185. I told her she had to keep it light though for the photograph.
Okay.
Because you got to be able to smile. So that's nice, easy weight for her. So, yep, very good. And that's the team photograph that we were able to get in here. So you can see a lot of different lifters.
Yeah.
Some of them went to competition. Some of them just joined us in the gym and learned a little bit about it and got stronger. Oh, I was telling you, this is my coach from when I was in high school. So 1994, Coach Langs started a powerlifting team. It was his first year coaching powerlifting, and me and Ken were on the team. And now Ken and I are both powerlifting coaches, and Coach Langs there in the middle has got a couple lifters that he's coached to state championships and things like that. So
Very cool.
yeah, very
Okay.
good.
Well, thanks for coming in. And now you can go to YouTube and watch this and
Nice.
share it with your friends.